Hey guys, Brian Stevens here with Mortgage Shots and the National Real Estate Post. You could go to either Mortgage Shots or the National Real Estate Post and pick my show up. We do a real estate and mortgage show Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, teaching you, showing you the tea leaves of the market, the direction it's going to go, and how you can navigate these sometimes, oftentimes, turbulent waters of our industry, the direction our rudder needs to go. Now, if you have any questions or if you're a loan officer and want to talk about being on my team, and boy, our team is growing fast, it's killer. We have a downline. We are working together. We meet on a weekly basis, and we crowdsource all of our ideas together. So if you want to learn more about it, just reach out to me. Send me a text over here to my number, 707-330-1272. Hey, listen, we're going to cover a whole bunch of stuff today. We're going to try to get this done in about 10 minutes or so, and hopefully this will help you with your sales day. With that said, let's just jump right in and see what we've got going for the day. Once again, like I said, if you want to join our team, we're going to read the tea leaves of the industry, an industry that can drive us nuts sometimes. And by the way, over at the Loan Factory, we want to let you know that if you're getting a refinance right now, we guarantee that we'll give you the best rate or $1,000 back. Ooh. Now, there's certain caveats to that, as there is with everything, but they're reasonable. We're not going to go up against credit unions on certain types of loans, and we're not going to be dealing with somebody who's going, well, you know what, when we put our fees on top of what our rate's going to be, I bet you we do. Give me a call if you have any questions as a real estate agent or lender, because me and my team are here to help you out along with your marketing. Our first graph that we're going to jump into is everybody in this industry is so fascinated with graphs. And, you know, listen, sometimes graphs can tell us kind of what's going on. I'm much more interested in what's happened with graphs, because graphs oftentimes tell us a direction that the market is going. So if we look at our median list price, we can see that we've seen a precipitous drop off with our median list price. It's $425,000. It's down to $2,900. When we look at price reductions, 40.9% of properties right now have had a price reduction. That is an absolutely massive number, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that and how that can help both lenders and real estate agents. Days on the market, well, that makes sense. It's gone up. The average days on market for a house right now is 121 days. Can you imagine how ticked off a seller is going to be if their house is sitting for 6 months? Virtually nobody is going, yeah, hey, listen, list my house. I'm hoping to sell it in about a third or a half of a year from now. Nobody has ever said that. And I've talked about this before with real estate agents. If you believe in your fiduciary, your moral and legal obligation of putting your client's need above yours, then what you need to do is be honest with prices, because what we're doing, and again, I've got some more information, ancillary information to support this point, but you cannot follow the lead that comes out of your potential listings mouth, because they're going over to Zillow, where that wonderfully, wildly accurate, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, algorithm is going to give them a figure that's going to be higher than what the actual value is going to be. You are the expert, not your client or potential client, and not Zillow. Truthfully, I think Zillow has done this industry a wild disservice with their site right now. Because what's happening is sellers are going on, or potential sellers are going on to Zillow and saying, yeah, my house is worth X, when in truth, their house is actually worth X minus 10% or X minus 15%. And if you were around in the 2008, 9, 10 market, it was the last time we truly saw a group of real estate agents chasing the market down with their clients. That's how you have a house that's on the market for 120 days. And I'm telling you, it's a disservice to them, it's a disservice to you, and it pisses off sellers. Now, of course, if you're one of these real estate agents and you have a contingency and it's been sitting around for a while, we have a fantastic buy before you sell program. It's not a bridge loan, and there's great guidelines in the program that does not require the seller to go ahead and make the payment on the house that they're exiting for a 12-month period. So it gives you a sale because you're going to get the forward purchase on this. The rates are fantastic, and it will alleviate a lot of the pressure. So listen, give us a call if you have any questions about this. Now, going up to the top with mortgage interest rates, are they going down? Are they going to stay the same? Or are they going to go up? Well, it's going to be one of the three, isn't it? But if you're a lender, I want you to think about this. If you decide that you want to become the rate expert and tell people not to lock their loan, let's think about this for a second. One of three things can happen. One, rates don't change. And if you said rates are going to go down, so don't lock, you just failed your client. Two, rates go up, and that can happen too. In which case, you have failed your client and they're pissed. Or rates go down and all you did was meet your obligation. 2 out of 3 of the options that are on the table, if you're a mortgage loan officer and a rate expert, are bad, and the third one is simply neutral ground. Here's the whole thing. You probably heard this before. Lock it, dock it, and put the money in your pocket. Or what we do over at the Loan Factory is we just let people lock their own rate. We literally let them lock their own rate. They can go in real time and figure out exactly where the rates are at and say, I want this rate today, and take it completely out of the hand of the loan officer. This graph says inventory is down. In markets I'm seeing, inventory is not down. It's decidedly up, so I don't know if I agree with what Housing Wire is saying. But here we have a lot of graphs and a lot of things that really indicate the market is sliding in a direction that is very decidedly in favor of buyers. And I like the whole buyer's market from a lender's perspective because I can control a little bit more of what a buyer does. And I like that. I want to be a real estate mogul. Well, you're going to go bust, or a lot of them have gone bust. Mom and pop landlords build real estate empires using under-the-radar DSCR loans. Now it's coming back to bite them in the ass. Is this true or is this not true? Well, clearly this is from an article in Newsweek that they say that DSCR loans are not necessarily the greatest loans in the world. And I'll tell you this right now. Let's just be clear. There is a bad loan for everybody if they choose to follow up with it. There is. I could put you in a loan where you are going to struggle financially to pay it. I could put you in a loan that's going to be a change of lifestyle payment. And the truth of the matter is we don't like to change nothing, do we? DSCR loans are the same thing. Here's from the article. For some of these landlords, the cash isn't flowing as planned. Serious delinquencies on DSCR loans have nearly quadrupled in the past 3 years. Data from the real estate analytics firm Cotality shows, although the troubled loans account for only a small fraction of the total dollars amount of outstanding DSCR loans, they're a sign that debt-laden landlords face shakier economics amid a rental market that's slowing down. And while people in the industry defend the idea behind these loans, it's still a great product. One lending veteran tells us, I love the lending veterans because God knows they're not jaded. They acknowledge the spread of some sketchy practices that contribute to the spike in bad debt, including ambitious rent targets, hasty approvals, and loans for properties where the rental income wouldn't even cover the basic monthly payment. That ain't true. It's flat out not true. You're going to get a rental survey on that property, and every rental survey that you're going to get is going to account for a vacancy ratio of 1 month to 2, meaning the rents that you should be able to get for a property right now is going to be a little bit less. The rents that you're going to be getting for the property that we use to qualify your deal is going to be lower than what your actual rents should be. Now, with that said, if you're a person and you have one property as a rental, okay, and something goes wrong, you need to put on a new roof, you need to change out your electrical, you need to get a new heat and air, that could put you upside down on that property, and you need to understand that going into it. You absolutely have to. So do DSCR loans, do they have any type of inherent risk in them? They do, as all loans do. And it's worth pointing out that DSCR loans are performing extremely well, but what we're seeing is a tick up from near nothing to actually something. Now, this has a lot to do with the fact that more people are getting DSCR loans now than ever. They're getting them because there's great opportunity. Now, here is my loan officer realtor pitch to you. If you're a loan officer, I would call a real estate agent right now and I would say, okay, go ahead and find me a 4-plex, a 3-plex, a 2-plex, a 5-plex, whatever you've got that's in your multiple listing system. Just go look them up right now and get those suckers over to me. Then what I'm going to do as a loan officer is I'm going to go over to Angel Oak. Okay. And if you want any questions answered about Angel Oak, all you have to do is reach out to me or leave me a comment down below or send me a direct message. I'm going to go over to Angel Oak and I'm going to get the rent survey done on that property before I have to get the appraisal. I'm going to find out what number I need to hit, how much money needs to be put down in order to make that a 1, compliant, and 2, highly effective and profitable unit for an investor to purchase. Now, here's the little kicker. I just showed you that properties are sitting on average for more than 120 days. 4-plexes oftentimes are sitting even longer. Now, if I can get a realtor just to go ahead and give me access to all the 4-plexes in their multiple listing system, and I can say, okay, with 25% down based on these rents, which are going to be 10% below, 15% lower than what they could actually get for that rent, and I'm putting 25% down on this property, I'm going to have a positive cash flow, or theoretically, of $400 to $500 a month immediately, on top of the fact that we've seen property values dropping, and we have sellers giving concessions, and I might even be able to get the rate a little bit lower for you. Well, I've got a great investment for somebody, because the alternative for a lot of these investors is going to the stock market right now, which has gone very cattywampus on us now, hasn't it? In fact, I totally disagree with this. I think DSCR loans are great for investors, and I think there's a great marketing opportunity with what I just laid out to you, because once I figure out if that property pencils, then I'm in the position of just trying to find an investor. What I love about investors is they're into it because they want to find out something that pencils, and they don't necessarily have an emotional connection to it. I can take that product to anybody. Now, rather than searching for a property that you want, I'm searching for an investor. We are putting the cart before the horse, and I'm telling you, loan officers, this works every time. And the only place you're hearing it is here with me, because everything that we talk with our marketing strategies is self-sourced amongst me and my team. They go on to say, however, several things happened in 2022 that make it trickier for investors to wring cash out of their properties. The Federal Reserve began jacking up interest rates to fight inflation. That has nothing to do with mortgage interest rates, mind you. Making it more expensive to borrow money. Absolutely, fundamentally, categorically not true. Home prices have surged in the COVID era. Yeah, they have. And by the way, what goes up comes down, and they're coming down now. So the properties landlords had invested in during the pandemic came with larger loan balances and heftier monthly payments. That is true. There is a certain amount of truth to that component of this. But with property values dropping and the immediate outlook saying it's probably going to soften a little bit more before it tightens up, this could be the greatest time to pounce on investment properties, and particularly when we're looking at multi-units. Guys, don't miss this marketing strategy with your clients, because it's a great one. By March of 2023, according to Catality, single-family rents, get multiplex, were up just 4.3% year over year, down from 13.3%. If you are planning on a 13% return on your money, just don't invest it all. Go to Vegas. You might get 13% on your money, or you might just, bust the whole thing. Down from the 13.3% jump, recorded a year prior. Some landlords found themselves in a bind. They've taken loans with higher rates, expecting rents to keep pace, but investing in real estate was no longer the slam dunk that it had once been. I invested in Enron. There is inherent risk, and investors by and large know this. Now, here's where the rubber meets the road, guys. The percentage of DSCR loans that are seriously delinquent, meaning that payments are at least 90 days late, or the properties in foreclosure proceedings, has nearly quadrupled since 2022. Cotality data shows just under 2% of securitized DSCR loans, just under 2%, fell into that bucket. Guys, if you're going to package, bundle, and securitize mortgages, and you have a 2% fallout rate in a declining market, you're kicking ass. So, are serious delinquencies up? Yes, the number is huge. They have nearly quadrupled over the past couple of years. The problem is, a couple of years ago, we didn't have any foreclosures on DSCR loans, and they're still outperforming your Fannie, Freddie, and Ginnie loans. So do we want to put a positive or a negative spin on this? How about this? Let's put an honest spin on it. We do have some risk. It's inherent risk in any type of investing that you're doing, but DSCR loans, when it comes to investing in real estate, are outperforming single-family primary residence loans, especially your HUD loans, which are going to be your which are going to be your USDA, your FHA, and your VA loans. And that's saying something very positive. Don't run away from these guys, because investors are probably going to be where our future is. Because here's the alternative. If you found these deals, have you found any deals like this lately? I put this up here because, well, I made it and I thought it was funny. But here's the moral to the story, guys. Listen, real estate agents, please listen up here. Lenders, we know this too. A lot of our deals have hair on them. In declining markets with foreclosures going up, we're always going to hear that fraud is increasing. It's not increasing. Loans are being scrutinized more closely as foreclosures continue to go up. Loans that do actually go through, and by the way, our fallout rate on loans are higher now than they have ever been. Okay? Most of the loans that we're closing are going to have some type of hair on them, even when they didn't have them months prior, because underwriters are looking more closely and are probably going to give you conditions you wouldn't have seen a few months ago. That's because they don't want to buy these damn loans back. So, loan officers, be honest, be forthright, and be upfront with your clients about the nature of the deal, along with your real estate agent, because they are your clients as well. Keep those lines of communication open, and you'll do really good on your stuff, and it will keep from putting years on your clients and your referral partners' faces. But most importantly, it should position you to let them know the hard work that you're doing and earn referrals and further business from each transaction that you're doing. But it requires a fierce amount of honesty up front. U.S. bankruptcy filings continue their upward climb since the end of the pandemic. Yes, according to bankruptcy statistics released by the Administrative Office of the United States Courts, filings for both business bankruptcies and personal bankruptcies increased by over 11% over the year ending on June 30th, 2025. Perhaps indicating that this financial trend is showing no signs of slowing down. The American Bankruptcy Institute, also known as the ABI, is showing a 12% increase in bankruptcy cases in October 2025 compared with the same month in the previous year. Yeah, bankruptcies are certainly going up. People are struggling right now. Hell, I just saw we spent more money on Black Friday than we have ever spent before, and I know 70% of people right now are living below what is deemed to be the poverty line that was put forth according to calculations in 1965. And if we look at the 1965 numbers, most people are living in abject poverty. So how in the hell are we spending more money keeping the economy afloat, buying stuff we don't need for people who don't want it for the holidays? We are doing this on credit, which also, that revolving credit is at record highs right now at about $1.4 trillion at record high interest rates at 28%. This does not spell a very pretty story for us. Those foreclosure numbers will probably go up because spending, like any other vice, is something that needs to be under control. And what do we know about our vices? The truth is, we don't like to give them up, especially during the hard times. But they're going to come home to bite you one day, and right now seems to be the time. Is this bad news? It is for people who are spending a whole bunch of money right now. But the truth is, it will create more foreclosure. That creates more inventory, and inventory is what real estate agents and loan officers need in order to maintain a good market. So bad for the economy to a certain extent, but great for the loan officers and real estate agents who are left. Case in point. Buy now, pay later boom. Dumbest thing I ever heard of in my life. Shows shoppers are swapping impulse buys for strategy. Buy now, pay later services continue to surge while consumers continue to drift away from in-person shopping and impulse buys. Bull. If you can't afford to pay for it right now and it's a buy now, pay later because you don't have the money, I gotta tell you, that's not a sustainable track that you're on right now. I've seen this one where you can actually put food on layaway right now. That's just what you ought to be doing. Why don't you go get yourself a $9 coffee that's going to cost you 14 bucks. Go get yourself some gingerbread or whatever else you want to get with that. Bring your whole total up to 20 bucks, but because you're going to Uber Eats this thing, it's going to be 30 bucks with your tip and all that goodness. And then go ahead and put it on layaway. Yeah, that's right. Put your coffee on layaway, pay for it another day. Here's my question to you. When are you going to have money? Answer, no. Truth be told, if we are going to read the tea leaves of this market, I think I can say this with pretty good certainty. Bankruptcy filings in the coming months and years are going to continue to go up, beating the numbers I just showed you a few moments ago. Mortgage delinquencies decreased, yay! But foreclosure activity continued to raise. Let me ask you this. Once a house goes beyond 90 days late and you have your pre-foreclosure and foreclosure activity, guess what? It's no longer delinquent. It's in foreclosure. The truth of the matter is these numbers actually make perfect sense. As people are going through the 30, 60, 90 day late, their pre-foreclosures and actually go into foreclosure, they're no longer delinquent. So as foreclosures go up, it makes sense that delinquencies would start to come down. However, you know you've really hit the skids when delinquencies and foreclosures go up. Let's talk about this in February or March and see what happens when all these payments on the pay later, buy now scenarios and all the credit card debt that we've been piling up on Black Friday and Cyber Monday, when that comes home to roost. It's going to be difficult. The United States mortgage delinquency rate was around 3.34%. Not bad at all. Again, lower than the DSCR that I just showed you a moment ago. And that was as of the end of October. Down about 2% compared to September, down about 3% compared to October 2024. Again, DSCR is looking pretty good right now, aren't they? As loan performance remains healthy. Why is it healthy for conventional loans, but it's downright abominable for DSCR loans? You see the juxtaposition here, don't you? And this is according to Mortgage Technology's latest first look report. There are about 1.84 million mortgages 60 days late or more delinquent, but not in foreclosure. This is according to the report, and that's down from 36,000 compared with the previous month and down from 28,000 compared from a year earlier. All right. So, as a real estate agent, what happens here? And loan officers, you can help with this because I help my realtors with this. Realtors, somebody's going to give me a nasty gram for that. Realtor. How about salesperson? I like that better. Don't you? Anyways, okay. What you want to do as a real estate agent is you want to get to these people before they go into foreclosure. Because once they go into foreclosure, all of you silverfish in the middle of the ocean, we all move in the same direction at the same time. We're like lemmings. We all jump off the cliff together. But you need to be different. How could you be different? Well, here's how you could be different. Is what you do is you go get a list. Go get a list of people who've got 600 or lower credit scores. Why? Because I happen to know that the average credit score 5 years ago, people who bought a house, was north of 740. And if they're now sitting at 600, that means they've run into hard times. Maybe they aren't pre-foreclosure or foreclosure yet, where they're going to hit the real estate market and every agent is going to flock to them like moths to a light. You want to get them before that information becomes readily available. That's why you buy a list of homeowners who've owned houses for at least 5 years. They've got equity in the property, right? That means they can sell the house and not go into foreclosure. But we know because of their credit score, they have dropped precipitously, meaning they're about to become a foreclosure. If you get that list, you will be the only person contacting those people in your market. Make sure it's scrubbed against a do not call list. This is a strategy that's going to make one real estate agent out there who listens and acts on it a hell of a lot of money. The median age for U.S. homebuyers is 59 years old. That is horrible. Horrible. It's geriatric, isn't it? You guys ought to start marketing an AARP magazine for first-time homebuyers. This is ridiculous. Back in 2010, it was 39. It's 60 now. It's almost 60 years old. Nothing wrong with being 60. But for a first-time homebuyer, when I think of a first-time homebuyer, I see a young, expected family who is going out there and they're going to buy a house, and they have a kid, or they're going to have a kid, or whatever the hell you're going to do, and they're excited about the whole thing. And then, unaffordability has kind of hit the whole thing. And now your average buyer is 59 years old. So I decided that I was going to look up the age of an average 59-year-old person. Pretty good-looking people, don't you think? Handsome devils, all of them. But man, that shouldn't be the average age of a buyer, should it? It really shouldn't. If you want to know where you're going to find your buyers, you're going to want to look towards people who are a little bit older. Now, because our average age of a real estate agent and loan officer is somewhere around 59, guess what? It's your peers. So when you're talking with your clients, heck, you can bring up when MTV started, before all the crap that they have on there right now. Go talk about music when they actually really played instruments. When you would come home, remember that? You would come home when the lights came on. We have so much stuff to talk about for our generation. Listen, if you're in your mid-50s right now, you're in your 60s right now, and you think this market has passed you by, this market is prime for your picking. It's the young bucks out there with all that crazy enthusiasm who are going to have to catch up to what we got. But I'm telling you, your New Year's resolution, hold on to that sucker. Keep the engine running. Keep yourself in good shape, because we're going to need it. Now, this one's a real interesting one. This is how much money we spend on food. Now, everybody has to tighten their belt. I get it. Inflation is higher than anything that we're looking at. We have actually changed how we calculate inflation right now to make it look a little bit more digestible. Digestible. Get it? Our total food expenditures when it comes to our disposable personal income is literally half of all of our disposable income. Now, I know eating out and using those Uber Eats and putting your food on layaway might sound good to the younger generations. It sounds stupid to me. But if you're going to go out there and try to get yourself in better shape than you are right now, you need to eat at home. You should eat at home, you should eat seasonally, and you should eat whole foods. That's what you should do. Beans, lentils, legumes are absolutely fantastic for you. If you're older, you understand this. You need to get your fiber. You need to get your fiber and take care of your digestive health. Beans are cheap, they're nutritious, they're high in protein, they're high in fiber, and they will take your total disposable personal income and they will knock that sucker down significantly. If you're trying to find a way to tighten your belt, literally and financially, it's with the food that you're buying, because on average, half of all your disposable income is going into what you're putting in your mouth. And I'm not even talking about the illicit variety. Yeah, if you want to talk with your clients and give them some good advice, Eat at home, eat whole foods, eat seasonally, get in better financial shape, and get better personal shape. And this is the time of year to talk about it, right? Hold on to that. Remember to soak your beans overnight before you cook them. And then you can put whatever you want. They're absolutely fantastic. That really is, by the way, good advice on so many levels. And now we have the evidence to prove it. You want to get more home buyers in the pool? They got to start saving up some money. Change what you eat. I love that slide. This map shows where Americans are falling behind on their credit card payments. Anything jump out at you? Anything? I'm going to say this right now. And I am not kidding. I absolutely love Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, South and North Carolina, Tennessee. Love it, love it, love it to death. And I got to tell you, if you want to find affordable places to go get a DSCR loan, think about this. You live in California, high prices. You don't have to buy an investment property in California. Go buy it on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi or Alabama. If you go to Alabama and go to the coast down there, people who don't live in Alabama and Mississippi, you guys don't know this. It's a freaking tropical paradise. Paradise. Over there in Florida, if you look on the Panhandle, there's a little town called Dustin, and they have what they call the whitest sand in the world. The sand is literally chalk white. It's super fine. The water is turquoise, just like you're down in the Caribbean. It's incredible. And the values are insane down there. Buy a second home down there. Heck with Arizona, heck with Florida. You got to look at the Panhandle, look at Alabama and Mississippi. Anyways, the states that I love so much, the Southeast, I like everything but their football. Yeah, I said it. I'm not a fan of Southeast football. You guys, there's a bias towards you in the polls right now. Yep, I'm an old school Pac-10-12 guy, Pac-8-10-12 guy. But when it comes to people, when it comes to courtesy, when it comes to affordability, and oh, baby, when it comes to food, you're going to be hard-pressed to find a place better than Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, their hot chicken. Yeah, hard-pressed. Hard-pressed. Anything that you could put hot sauce, shrimp, and sausage in, you know the damn stuff's good. The U.S. median family income right now, from 1947 to right now, notice anything here? Back in the late 1960s, when everybody was out there protesting wars, man, we were making a whole bunch of money. That means we have a lot of time to go out and do stuff like protest, doesn't it? Back in 2000, we were kicking ass too. Back in 1980, see that one right there in the middle with that red dot? That was during our hyperinflation. That's hyperinflation when we had interest rates on mortgages going 16, 17%. And that's when Volcker, who was head of the Federal Reserve at the time, came in and went absolutely ballistic. He went crazy. If you want to read something that's funny, look at what Paul Volcker did when he's the head of the Federal Reserve back in the 1980s. He goes, oh yeah, you guys think you're going to spend money like you're out of control? Like a like a drunk 9-year-old in the candy store with mom's credit card? Well, let me show you. And he took the Fed fund rate and he put that thing up at like 7% overnight. It was in a very, very short period of time. And everyone went, whoa, this Volcker is crazy. We can't spend money anymore. He's going to run the economy in the ground. And he freaked everybody out, and he basically held off inflation until when? Well, right about now. And what we saw with the Federal Reserve under Jerome Powell, that is he went Volcker light. We're going to raise the Fed fund rate. We're going to raise it, but we're going to go we're going to not kind of go as crazy as Volcker. Personally, I would like to see him pull a straight up Volcker and just raise rates through the roof and scare the living you-know-what out of everyone. Because right now, if we see inflation when our family income is at its lowest, and that's when we do, we are lower now than we were in the 80s. People are struggling right now. And if we want to have 50 years of prosperity, as we had under Volcker's crazy move back in 1980, we're going to need to see the feds raise rates again. Hold on a second, Brian. I thought you were like pro-lender. I thought you were like pro the industry. I am. And sometimes it's a tough love that we need to have. And right now, I'd like to see the Fed take a harder stance. Truth of the matter is, they'll probably end up, well, they already said they're going to start quantitative easing, in case you don't know what that is. They're going to raise their balance sheet, start buying mortgage-backed securities, and pull interest rates down. Yay! No. How are those 2 and 3 rates working for you right now? They're the reason why the housing industry is screwed from the 2 to 3% interest rates of a couple of years ago. It's kind of like drinking It's really fun. It feels great, but man, you're going to pay for it the next morning. That's what a low rate environment is doing. U.S. mortgage rates slide to 6.32%, boosting purchase activity. Yay. We're okay in the sixes, but much lower than that, I'm not so sure. Leave the market alone and let the foreclosures wash their way through, create inventory, pull prices down, and get us back to something that looks fundamentally normal. In order to do this, Washington, you need to stay out of the game, because every time you make a move, we have these things called unintended consequences, and they never seem to work out well for us. Now, I also saw an article today that said, well, right now we kind of think that rates are going to stay pretty much as close to where we are right now. So before you become the rate expert, I already told you that's a bad idea. You got pretty good rates. There's enough refinances out there. 6.32 is a good rate. Be good with what you got, because it's probably not going anywhere significant. More than half of U.S. homes have lost value in the past year. Let's have this conversation again in February. That's going to say all houses, with the exception of Orange County and probably someplace in Virginia or Maryland. We're going to see property values continuing to drop. That is my belief on this. I see this as an inevitability. People can't afford to buy houses. Why? Because people bought houses based on rates of 2% when money was cheap. Now money's not that cheap. People don't have the money because we don't have the rates, and we ain't getting them back. So if you want to sell your house, you're going to have to lower your rates. Subprime mortgages are on the rise again. No, they're not. I think we already went over this one. Our DSCR loans are fantastic. I'll tell you what, though. Here's the gist of what's going on here. When you hear subprime mortgages are on the rise again, you're thinking, oh, that's got to be non-QM. Here's the funny thing about this article. They're not talking about non-QM loans. Those are just doing fine, thank you. What they're talking about is subprime mortgages relative to what your credit scores are, regardless of the type of loan that you're getting. Of the 3.22 million first mortgage originated in the year to date, around 208,400 were extended to consumers with what are considered subprime credit scores. See? Below the Vantage Score 3.0 threshold, a 620. We gave 208,000 loans to people below credit scores of 620. Well, there's our next round of foreclosures. This happens all the time. It doesn't make me happy, but it's true. The road to hell, once again, is paved with good intentions. Everybody should own a house. Not everybody. This represents a 10.7% increase compared to last year, while the associated balance totaling 54.6 million have risen 20.8%. Guys, here's the whole thing, man. By and large, we're writing loans for people with fantastic credit. You're going to be hard-pressed to get people with 620 credit scores through right now. I know that Fannie and Freddie through the FHFA have dropped their credit scores, but there's not a lender in the world who wants to write that loan. That's just being pragmatic about the whole thing. So when we say that subprime loans, what we're really talking about here, who's doing 620 or lower scores? You better have 50% to put down. Who's doing them? You know who's doing them? FHA. If you want to talk about subprime loans now as they were in 2008, it's FHA. And by the way, it's FHA's charter. FHA's charter is to serve the underserved, to give opportunity to those who otherwise wouldn't have it, and that is a noble charter. It is. But we have to accept the fact that we're going to have higher foreclosures with people with lower credit scores, particularly when we're using FHA loans. Now, this was the same case back in 2008. Everyone put these on the true subprime loans back then, but it wasn't. It was FHA. Now, the thing is FHA has this thing called an MMI account. It's their Mutual Mortgage Insurance Fund account, and it's sitting about 10 times higher than what the congressional mandate is of 2.25%, I believe, where it's at. It's like over 10% right now. What that means is FHA can actually suffer a number of foreclosures. Let's give people with 620 credit scores or lower, oftentimes underserved communities, oftentimes minority communities. Let's give a chance at home ownership, and let's keep this number up. Because here's the truth, and this is going to be hard for you guys to understand, but having a certain level of foreclosures or defaulted loans is actually healthy for the housing market. We can't just give loans to the best of the best. We have to create opportunities for everybody, right? If you're paying taxes, shouldn't you have a chance to a certain extent? Some 17.3 million auto loans and leases have been originated in the year to date, a 0.7 increase over 2024, while the total balance of 518 billion is 5.1% higher than it was same time last year. This is where they're really getting their ass kicked right now. It's car loans. Subprime car loans are huge. And if you want to see the direction the housing market is going to go, all you have to do is look at your car loans and see how they're performing, because the next thing to fall is going to be mortgages. And right now, repossessions are through the roof, which is yet another indicator that we're going to see more foreclosures, which to me means more inventory, more opportunity, and more value. And the average cumulative price cut between listings and sales. Guys, what we're looking at here is real estate agents who are chasing the market down. They're listing too high. We know that the properties are sitting too long. And then as property values drop, you continue to cut prices, but you never get in front of the curve. Right now, as a real estate agent, you need to get in front of the curve, because we're going to see another 10% drop, another 20% drop. And do you really want to shoulder your clients with that type of stuff, your sellers? And the answer is no. Real estate agents have the hard conversation and have it up front with your clients and say, listen, if you really want to sell your house, you got to list with this. And you as a real estate agent, if you're really good at what you do, you have to be willing to cut bait and let that person go and list with your competition at a price that you, the professional real estate agent, knows that house is not going to sell. If you do that, you're going to be happier next year. And frankly, I think you'll get more clients. With that said, guys, feel free to reach out to me absolutely anytime you choose to. I would love to have a conversation with you. The best way to contact me is through texting, and I promise I'll get back with you. With that said, you all make it an absolutely fantastic day. Coming to you from little old Vacaville, California, I'm Brian Stevens with the Loan Factory on the CB Loans team. Reach out to me, loan officers, if you want to be a part of this. Send me a text, instant message, and do all the sharing and stuff that you're supposed to do. That said,